Welcome to another live feed. Sheldon's YouTube channel. Let's get into it. Ultramagnetic MCs. Number 4. Underrated classic album, Critical Beatdown, released on Next Plateau Records. 1988, there were so many classic albums that came out during that epic year. P.E.'s, Public Enemies, Takes Nation Millions, Hold Us Back. The Day Came, Long Live the King, Slick Rick, The Great Adventures of Slick Rick, EPMD, Strictly Business. There's an example of how great 1988 was. Then Ultramagnetic MCs, Critical Beatdown is ready to be included in the pantheon of great albums that was made in 1988. The group was led by Kool Keith, who founded the group. It was Said G, Mo Love, and T.O. Love. This group was from the Bronx, New York. What made this group yet set apart from other groups was the sampling that was unorthodox, rhymes that was polysyllabic, lyrical imagery that was bizarre, which Magnetic MCs created a buzz with a song called Ego Trippin', which was the first hip-hop song to use a synthetic substitution drum break sample, which would become one of the most sampled songs of all time. Critical Beatdown was released on October 4th, 1988, which became a new classic album for the new school. And what makes this album an underrated classic, because Said G was the producer of the album, produced BDP's Criminal Mind along with the late Skylar Rock. Golden era sampling may have looked different if it wasn't for Said G, who was the first producer to use chopped up samples in terms of rearranging, editing, to change the context of the samples on the album. The songs that stood out, and that was Ego Trip because the Jim Break sample, I read this at DMC, Run DMC, and Kool Keith said, "Say what?" Peter Piper, the blank with childish rhymes that was rare for anyone to diss Run DMC at the time. That traveling at the speed of thought, Watch Me Now, Funky, Ease Back, Give the Drummer Some. All these songs were hits in the production. The album was very influential, such as Hope Give Me Second Album, Takes Nation Millions, Hold Us Back, with a Bomb Squad, which included Hank Shockley, Keith Shockley, Chuck D, Eric Vietnam Style, and Gary G. Wiz cited Critical Beatdown as a big influence. Overall, this album was an underground classic album that was futuristic for up and coming underground artists. With Said G and Kool Keith's abstract, pseudo-scientific terminology and lyrics, Critical Beatdown created a new vision of a new school hip hop. All right. Let's get into more reasons why this is underrated. Well, this was an underrated classic album because it pioneered complex multi-syllabic rhyming and avant-garde sampling years before the underground hip-hop boom. Its dense, chaotic production techniques revolutionized the genre, yet it remains overshadowed commercially by other golden age releases. Thanks for the 12 people tuning in. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. The pioneering production techniques, number one, is what made this album unique and different. Rapper and producer Said G utilized the SP1200, EMU SP1200 samples to craft a sound that was far ahead of its time. Instead of relying on straightforward loops, he chopped up, sped up, reconfigured obscure funk, jazz, sci-fi samples. This dense, sample-heavy sound heavily influenced later pioneers like RZA from the Wu-Tang Clan and Public Enemy, and the birth of Kool Keith's surreal lyrical style. This album introduced the world to the eccentric, scatterbrained stream of consciousness rhyme of Kool Keith. Painting a simple couplet structures popular in 1988. They introduced rapid fire, internal rhyming schemes, abstract, boastful, and sci-fi imagery that will eventually become the blueprint for alternative and underground hip-hop, 3 ahead of its time musically, because Critical Beatdown featured such frenetic, off-kilter, gritty arrangements that didn't receive the massive mainstream radio play that standard polished rap records of the late 80s enjoyed. It was widely celebrated by critics and later generations of musicians, eventually earned a 5 mic rating from the source, but it flew under the radar for the average listener in 1988. And lastly, a blueprint for gangster rap underground. Tracks like Eagle Trick and the chorus line were revolutionary not just for their lyrical density, but because they self-assertive, unapologetic themes serve as a precursor to both 1990s gangster rap and obscure underground scenes of the 2000s. That's why it's underrated. It's a classic. So that's it, man. I'm done. That's all I got to say about that. Till then, talk to you at 7:15 for the number 2. Excuse me, yeah. No, number 3. Number 3 underrated classic album of all time. Till then, talk to you soon.